morning. Hello, Martin. Hello, Witch Cat. Hello, Kaisei. Hello, hello. How are you guys doing this morning? Welcome to the first of many morning Wednesday streams, brought to you by me. How you guys doing? Coffee's so good. So good. Pretty good, and yourself? I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. We're gonna work on some more Cthulhu. Gonna kind of start fixing it up a little bit more. Start detailing it more too. But I'm doing really good, man. Work's been good. So, yep. You good? You're eating strawberries? Nice, nice, nice. Nice. All right. Boop. Okay, there we go. So we're going to get into some fun stuff. But first, let's fix some of this anatomy here that I'm now noticing got a little bit of broken. Happens from time to time. Especially when you pose stuff. So I figured I'd continue this this Cthulhu I've been working on for on and off for like a month and a half, it feels like. Alright, let's go there. Whoop. It's crazy how long I've actually been messing about with this. Nice. Hey Martin, have you been enjoying the videos on ArtStation? I've been peeking through. I haven't watched a whole bunch myself, but been peeking through a good amount of them. And there's definitely a lot there, so I'm pretty excited to keep going. Clay tubes. Bring that down. There we go. Let's fix this section right here. This got torn pretty good too. Also, you guys want to hear something crazy? I woke up this morning with a LinkedIn notification that somebody viewed my profile. And Paul Bennett from Hasbro looked at my profile, and I was like, "You want to hire me, dude?" So yeah, I watched a couple of them. To be honest, not much I learned about it, which is really sad, actually. Yeah. See, you already know, man. You're already on it. Actually, I find those to be reassuring when I watch a video and I realize that that I don't. When I realize I'm not learning a whole much from it, I kind of get excited because it's like all that hard work is paying off. So while it could be kind of sad, it could be kind of cool too. So, oh my god, it's freaking happening! I know, it's really, really cool. I was like, "Bet, looking at me? Cool, I'll take it." It's like when I watch Michael Palpovich videos now. I'm no longer overwhelmed by his tutorials or his live streams. I actually listen to them sometimes in the background as I'm working, and I'll pick up little things, but a lot of times I know exactly where he's going. And so it's no longer like me necessarily trying to learn and follow along as it is more me just now more intrigued by his pipeline. That's an encouraging feeling, I think. So hopefully it's encouraging too. All right. There we go. So, if anybody's wondering what exactly I was fixing, the shoulder deltoid muscle goes halfway down the humerus bone, which is right here. And so it starts right about there at the clavicle and comes down. So that's actually what I'm currently trying to fix. Been learning a lot of anatomy lately, like the technical parts of anatomy. And it's been really exciting. So it's more like that, where instead I have that over here like kind of balled up a bit. So I'm gonna actually fix a good chunk of this. Oh yeah. Cool, 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 cool. Let's just clean this up. So much going on right now. Okay. Actually, back this up. Let's get some clay buildup going on. This part would stick out a little bit. Also, I don't need to smooth like a ton of stuff. I think I'm going to be playing with some colors. Anybody have any color ideas in mind? I think I want to play a little bit with color. I don't know. I always think like some sort of green when I think Cthulhu. I don't know if that's just like a me thing or not. Green and yellows. There we go. Okay. Looking at the forearm muscles, looking pretty good. Let's turn lazy mouse on. There we go. Get that radial muscle happening here. It's not a you thing. Most people associate green with some sort of Cthulhu. What about a really deep blue? Ooh. I like that blue idea. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I always see like green Cthulhus. Let's go ahead and fix this real quick, smooth that. So that makes sense. So yeah, let's try maybe a deep blue. A deep blue with some green tones. We could probably do something like that. Purple, but I'm being spicy. Oh shit. Actually blue, purple, some green tone, like some seafoam green. I think those colors could go together. We could play with some of that. So we could start with like a deep blue base, and then we could start like playing with some shadows and stuff on that. Okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I started work earlier than normal. I don't like it. That's funny. I've been there. This whole week working, it's been amazing. It's everything about my job right now is really awesome. It's one of those things that like if the project didn't end, but and I still got to work on it every single day. Like it's a really fun experience. Um but the first few days I was like really early and really like pushing hard. Uh, and so, yeah, I know what you mean about getting there early. Okay. And build this up a little bit more. There's not a gap here. Well, let me rephrase that. There's not supposed to be a gap here. The way it got crushed, so. Fix all this technical stuff. Yay! Thanks, Switchcat. The Cthulhus are usually dirt colored but dark blue, maybe with fluorescent suction cups and around the eyes. I'm in. Oh man, that sounds, yeah, I like it. I like it. It's my name right there. How you doing? 5 a.m. your time. Ugh. Yeah, that's gross. Did I give this guy UVs? I did not. Let me actually, because I have pretty decent groups here. We're just going to go ahead, hit Polygroups, turn off Symmetry. Let me unwrap the UVs. Might be able to do something with that. Yeah, of course, man. Good, I'm glad. That's awesome. Stream is lagging like hell right now, but I'll be fine. Wait, your stream or my stream? Is my stream lagging? Oh, my one? Okay, gotcha. Oh, that's a bummer, dude. Well, that is okay, my friend. That is okay. Wi-Fi is hell. Oh, dude. Yeah, okay. I've been there, man. It's like when Charter for me, which is the Wi-Fi, was the internet I'm with, they like it's better now, but before it was total garbage. I'm actually like, this is one of those rare cases where you'll hear me say I'm thankful for the pandemic because they had to fix the whole infrastructure around my area, because I'm in what's called a slow area for internet, and because of people having to go to work and school from home, it actually forced Charter to like redo the lines in my area, and so now I'm getting a lot more consistent, where before my internet would be like just 1, 2, maybe 3 upload, and like now I'm at like a solid 10 to 12, which is perfect, and that's still considered a slow area. So I feel you. Not even LAN works properly in my house. Oh my god, yeah. It's so crazy to think like just how much we use the internet now. So is it just on your computer? Because one of the things too that I ended up doing, I had to do it because it was twofold for me. It was let me see real quick. Let me come over here. Cause I actually had to get a LAN chip. Let me look at my previous orders. I had to get a LAN chip for my card as well. Look, you're looking at things I've bought in my life. I ended up picking this guy up. It's like 14 bucks. But if you're using the LAN on your motherboard, that was causing me problems too, and Charter. So if you this made a huge difference, night and day for me. So just a thought. Hello, how are you? I'm doing good, Mohammed. How are you doing? Just sculpting this morning. Getting our Cthulhu cleaned up. I was working on this for my Pixelogic stream, and I still want to continue the project, so decided to go ahead and continue it. Yeah. How are you doing? Nah, Xbox updates are also usually run. Ah, okay, yeah. So it is just totally your internet. That sucks. Well, if you ever experience a problem with anything on your PC side, and you're ported straight into the motherboard, that's a great option. But I used to always be ported into my motherboard. It was just this Asus board that I bought. It was a Gamers Republic brand that had some issues, and apparently it's that model and that brand that has high issues. So, go figure. Okay, there's a little triangle piece right here too we need to get right. Hello, Carde. Yeah, no problem. Yep. Let's get this in there. So we're getting this little spot right in here, right where the clavicle is. There's a spot right here. That's where your humerus and stuff all connects, and it comes through here. So there's a little bit of a muscle separation here between the pec major muscle and the deltoids. So we'll just get that locked in pretty well. Let's do the same thing here. Kind of get that going just a bit. Worst was down to 200 kilobytes a second and 5 megabytes. Wow. Yeah, that is terrible. Yeah, you can't do anything with that. Yeah, which is a pain if you have a 60 gigabyte Halo update. Dude, yeah, absolutely. Well, like, when I really noticed my internet was bad, besides some random stream crashes, was when I was trying to install Call of Duty, and I think it was 110 gigs for Call of Duty Warfare. It was brutal. It took up the whole thing. Especially Halo. Halo has some crazy updates. Okay. There we go. Just kind of trim some of that back. There we go. There we go. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Now, it is a little obvious on what's going on one arm versus the other. It's almost like his arm is broken here. So we need to elongate his arm just a little bit. So let's take this guy, this and this. Cute. I'm gonna soften that on both directions. What I'm gonna do is actually put this here. I'm gonna start. Actually, maybe let's do something more like this. Yeah, that's like noticeably huge. So we're actually gonna pull his arm down, and then we'll pivot it just a little bit. Yeah, that makes more sense. This anatomy got super jacked up. Okay, I just found out my brother's on an online meeting in the other room. Usually it isn't that worse like it is right now. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. That'll do it. Okay, let's go here one more time. Select these two. Let's fade this up. Just actually don't fade that. Usually when you're bending at a sharp elbow point, you don't want to bend, or you don't want to soften the mask too much. It could cause issues. So we do to get that over like such. There we go. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. That was a nasty break. But that's all right. Do I have an A? Jimmy is missing. How you doing? Do you have any tips for accurately making the shape of furry animals? Because it's so hard to see with all that hair. I do actually have a tip, and it would be do a draw over of the animal in particular. So let's type in here, let's type in cat. Everybody likes cats, right? Actually, you know what? Let's go kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Okay, so a big tip would be to do a draw over of sorts, if you can do it, and also pull up the anatomy of said animal or creature that is like it, so that you can get an idea. Because you're right, like when you have fur on an animal or on a creature, it makes it more difficult to kind of see what's actually going on. So if we take cute kitties, for example, let's see if we can get a full body shot here. Yeah, huge difference between kitty and cat. Absolutely. Kitties are usually pretty soft. Okay, so yeah, so basically, let's see. Yeah, but for most animals I want to take, there's almost no anatomy for it because it's so rare. Give me an example. Which animal in particular would you be looking at? Hey, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. Popa or spider monkey? Oh, spider monkeys are adorable. Okay, so let's take spider monkey for example. Sorry, you know. Okay. So something like, okay. So honestly, the best thing to do would be do a draw over, right? So let's actually take this full body shot right here. Why is it so low res? That's a stuffed animal. You look hilarious with kitties around your head. Yeah, it's adorable. Okay, I'm trying to find a decent image. Here we go. Okay, this is a nice one. So what I would do is I would take this guy and I would actually save this out. And I would do a draw over of the basic shapes, which will give you a breakdown of that anatomy pretty quickly. So if you have access to Photoshop or GIMP, or anything that you could bring over, even just have it on your phone and just do an edit draw over. Let's go to right here, drag and drop. Okay. So draw over can be your best friend when trying to figure out shapes and form. So if we go ahead and take, we make a brand new layer. Do I know any good programs for editing photos and drawing? Because I don't have one to draw. So there's a few. Yeah, you can do. Let me see. Actually, you know what? I would recommend is Affinity. Let's see. I'm just looking it up real quick. This is actually what I would recommend. It's like Photoshop, but it's a lot better. It's called Affinity. It's probably, I think it's like $50 typically. If I didn't have access to Photoshop the way I do, I would get this. This is probably the best. There are free versions, of course. Just type in like free Photoshop. But this works just like Photoshop. Is just as powerful with PSD editing, raw editing, etc., etc. I use this a lot as a graphic designer. What is it? Yeah, it's $24. Like, it's really, really powerful. And this is no subscription, one-time thing. Just straight up buy. So if you have $25, I'd recommend getting that. If not, there's some free stuff. Oh yeah, Affinity is really nice. I used that before I got Photoshop. Yep. Yeah, I don't like subscription base either. So yeah, $25 on sale. And I will tell you that the designer is also just as good as their as Adobe's Illustrator. So if you're looking for something to have, Affinity Photo is really great. Never really used a program like that, so I'd have to try a free one, I think, first. They do have a free trial. I'm not pushing it. They do have a free trial, which is pretty good, but yeah, a really good free one that I learned a long time ago. I don't know if it's still relevant, but it's GIMP, GIMP. This is a really good one as well. At least it was back when I would do it. So I mean, this is also. So I'll drop some links real quick. GIMP's pretty good. I would say it's not as good as Affinity, but it is still a really great program, and that one is free. So I'll give you some options. So, oh, I didn't let that one share. One more time. There it goes. Okay. So either way, but I mean, you could do this part on your phone too if you just download a photo on your phone, and then I know on Apple it's if you hit edit and then you hit markup, you can kind of trace. But ideally what you want to do is really just get the shapes of it. And a lot of times you can get some good information from characters or creatures that do have a lot of fur. Krita is a great free as well. Awesome Stolo, perfect. But ideally, so here, let's take our paintbrush, let's drop this down. Let's get a nice bright color, something like pink. Perfect. So what you want to do is when you want to take a look at a creature like this, for example, ideally you're just looking for shapes and forms. Forget anatomy for a second and just look at shapes and forms. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this. I'll put smoothing on just a little bit. Smoothing is like lazy mouse. And ideally we're just looking at let's put it a little bit bigger. We're looking at this body, and I can kind of tell where to start right here by his shoulder. And then as I loop around, I have this connection point right here. So I'm actually able to kind of imagine a line or a curve that will come up here. And then because I know how my own hips attach, we can assume that right around here would be a connection point. May not be 100% accurate, but this is your main shape, just like that. So you're looking past the fur. And again, it's because we have a few starting points. We have right here on the underbelly, and then right on the shoulder where the neck meets, that gives us that main base shape. So we can imagine that his torso to abdomen to buttocks region would actually be something like this. And then sometimes it's a little hard to tell, but we can see that here's a plane change. So we have his thigh and his shin. This is a plane change. Now, right here, that's his fur. And you can see where the fur's kind of bright. Let's zoom in a little bit. If we look at the way the photo's taken, and the light source is clearly coming from back over here. And we're getting a blowout on his fur, so the light's coming through. So what we really need to pay attention to then is not the whitest part of the fur, the lightest part of the fur, but the darkest part of the fur. So as we come in here, we're going to see this plane change. So his hip starts right here, comes down to his knee. His knee now pivots and changes. And then same right here, this kind of comes up. And then there's a plane change. And then we can assume that the rest will wrap around. So it's a bit of an assumption, but it's also using the landmarks that are given to us naturally. Same with back here. We can verify that on the back side, there's a plane change that now curves around, comes here. Now, what is interesting is sometimes when we're doing reference from creatures and we're trying to guess the anatomy, we could take a look at other animals that might have similar likenesses. And we notice here that we have a joint here at the knee, here at the hip, but we also get his toes are right here, and there's a clear indication of a plane change right back here. Right there. Well, that plane change is going to tell us that there's another joint, and that would be his ankle bone. So we're just now kind of just guessing that somewhere around here would be his foot. And we can also assume that maybe just coming back a little bit, that right here where this plane changes, again, it's all about plane changes. There's a point right here, and that plane change is going to be toes. Now, how many toes a spider monkey has, I'll have to kind of try to research that. Hey, Slowby Art, how you doing? But for the most part, that's what you want to look for. You want to look for all these plane changes. Now, with the tail, tails can be a little tricky, but for the most part, I think of a tail like a spine. It's basically just an extension of a spinal cord, which can help you with alignment. So notice that most animals with tails can control them, so they have joints and stuff. So we'll just mark this as one big solid piece. And then when we go to, if we were to build that skeleton, or even just get the topology cleaned up, we'll actually want to kind of section it off like that, so that we can have it act like a tail that's moving. And then, last but not least, the face. Now the face is the trickiest part. Face will always be the trickier part, trying to guess the anatomy. So I suggest trying to guess the skeletal structure over the face structure, because the skeletal structure will give you more information if you can guess it. So we start with the easiest things, which is where the eyes are. And every skeletal structure that has eyes, that hole that your eye sits in, is generally called an orbit. So, and orbits aren't typically round. They're more typically squared off. So what I would recommend is draw a bigger circle right where you kind of see, it's a little hard to see, I know. Let me see if I can brighten this up for a minute. Let's go to curves. Let's bring this up a bit. There we go. Come back here. So we could see that right around here, this brightest spot, as it comes around and it'll come up, that will be the orbit. And then there's everybody, you can even reference your skull, but there is a little flat plane right here just before the nasal hole, which most noses, even on animals, would be cartilage. So, and then you have a nasal cavity that looks something like that. Then we just look at the plane changes and look at the ear. Since ears are halfway, like on most animals, like humans for sure, ears are halfway down the skull. You can see the ears pretty far back, so there might be exception to the rule. But what we can really look at is this plane right here, which is his cheekbone. And then if we draw a line from the top of his cheekbone back will actually get to the ear. So this can start helping us, and we can use this other orbit on the side here. And this can start helping us get the shape of the skull that might be more like this. And again, this is just kind of a guess on my part. Skull would come up something like that. Clearly there's the jaw or the mandible that's right here. So we can kind of come here and know that the jawbone usually connects right here in between this bone. I forget the name of it, but it's usually pivot here, the TMJ. Forget the proper name, but that's right about there. And then we can tell that this protrudes a little bit forward. So this, and then this little bump right here isn't correspondent to this plane change. So we can at least get some bony landmarks to work with. It's not perfect, but it'll help us see a little bit more clearly when we're taking a look at the anatomy as a whole. No, I'm not sculpting a monkey. I was just answering a question from Jimmy is Missing, trying to figure out landmarks and shapes of a creature that has a ton of fur. Although I might sculpt a monkey eventually. So hopefully this is helpful to you. This is what I definitely recommend. And then the other thing too is, let's say for 5 seconds that we actually couldn't get an anatomy of a spider monkey, right? Let's say we have no idea. We couldn't find a proper anatomy of a spider monkey. Always start with anatomy, right? This is how I Google search. If my internet will actually do, I think I'm taking all the internet. Okay, so at the end of the day, what I recommend is always search the animal you're trying to look for with the word anatomy afterwards. I know this sounds kind of like, I don't mean it to sound condescending in any way, shape, or form, but you'd be surprised what you can find if you type in the word, like a word and then attach anatomy to it. For example, like when I was looking up dragons, right, I just type in dragon anatomy, and there's a ton of information here. If I were to type in like an ogre anatomy, so you could get some pretty good stuff like that too. You'd be surprised what you could find. If you can't find the exact thing you're looking for when it comes to anatomy, try a draw over and then search for things that look like that as best as you can. And then you just kind of make it up as you go along, which is sculpting most of the time. Hey, what's up, Talden? How you doing? So, yeah, definitely draw overs are your best friends at the end of the day. There we go. There we go. All right. So let me know if that all is good. All right, thank you. Perfect. How's everybody else doing? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. I am continuing the Cthulhu I was working on my Pixo stream. For those of you who are just coming in. But yeah, creatures with fur definitely can be a pain in the butt. So, thank you. Ian's bright and early this morning. Yeah. My work projects are going great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, so Wednesdays is going to be normal time for a while on Wednesdays. Because even after this current project, I'm in talks with another company to start some more projects with them. And this project that I'm currently working on is so much fun. And it's so much fun that I'm actually looking forward to the retopology phase, believe it or not. This is coming from somebody who says he doesn't really like Ritapo. I'm really excited to see this project get animated. It's gonna be great, and then I can't wait to share it. So I'm super excited about it. So yeah, all in all, good. Oh, nice Cthulhu. Do you play the Call of the Cthulhu? I don't play the Call of the Cthulhu, Zen. Zenfire. I haven't. I've been wanting to, but I haven't, no. It's probably blasphemy, but Cthulhu is like the one creature that I've like sculpted at least once a year, and I just had it in my... I had an urge to sculpt him. And this project actually started like almost a month ago with Kamara, so shout out to Kamara. But if you guys don't know who she is, she pops in. I don't know, she might be asleep. But we did a dual stream a while ago, and then I got busy and I never finished mine. So trying to finish what I start. Nice. What's the right way to sculpt facial details like pores and rest of the character? The right way to do it? So, I mean, at the end of the day, the right way to do it would be to try to replicate reference as much as possible, but there's no real right way, as long as the result at the end of the day looks good. I've used VDM brushes, I've used alpha brushes, I've used normal brushes. There are some tricks that you can do to get some sort of skin texture, which I could show you. But as far as the right way to do it, I would say it's more of like there's just an approach to do so. So if I take a sphere, for example, just subdivide it a few times, I would say that's the biggest trick. Work on subdivisions. Don't texture with Dynamesh, because I feel personally, for me, that when texturing with Dynamesh, while you can get some great results, subdivisions just hold the information better. And so if you have a really nice clean mesh that you can subdivide, then you can also work between subdivisions to give you better results. But if I wanted to get some good skin pores and not use an alpha and not use a pre-built brush or anything purchased, how I would go about doing it is actually using the standard brush, and then I would actually use the spray stroke, and then I would use alpha number 7 in conjunction with smooth peaks. So hold down shift, go to smooth and smooth peaks, so that way we can do that. And I would also use clay buildup. So what I would do to get some sort of texture, let's say we're going to try to texture a neck, for example, right? What I would use is the clay buildup at really low resolution. And then I would actually just slowly build up some material, because skin is imperfect, right? Skin has a bunch of folds and wrinkles. So we want to utilize those layers. I guess the proper way, Furry, actually would be the process. Start with the skin tone and the skin folds and how that's going to move. Then on top of that, you'd start stacking in pores and then fiber or hair. So what I would do is I would come first and say, like, here's the skin fold. And then not only am I going to go left to right, but I'm also going to go diagonally. And this is where you would break symmetry. And I'd actually start going diagonally across just to get a little bit of tone. And I'll notice I'm working at a low intensity. I'm actually going to go lower. I'm going to go intensity like 1 or 2. And I'll even do a brush variation. I don't know if you can see this. Let's go to render, preview AO. Let's turn occlusion on a little bit. And I'd even then go 45 degrees the other way. So I'm doing like almost like hat shading at this point. Gary! What's up, buddy? So I build up this layer like this. And notice that I'm not going back and forth like this. I'm actually putting a stroke down, picking up, putting a stroke down. I'm just doing that really, really fast. But I'm keeping the direction consistent. So then you'll have something like this. And then I'll actually take smooth peaks, turn off RGB, unless you want to blend color, of course. And then go down to like 30 to 40% intensity. And I would actually start slowly, maybe a little bit lower, maybe 26. And I'd actually start smooth peaks that area out. And if you notice, some areas, of course, will be a little bit different, but you can already kind of see that I'm naturally creating like a porous feel. So something like that, right? And of course, too, you can make this look however you want it to look. But then what you want to look at is the skin itself. How does that skin fold? For necks, for example, you have lines that go across because you can lower your neck and then raise your neck. So we want to then try to add those in. Is the anime model done? The anime model is done as far as like built and rendered, but as far as 3D printable, no, not yet. But soon, my friend, soon. So for getting like lines and stuff in your model, I've then used either Dam Standard or /3. How does your model be to take enough details to try to detail a model to begin? Oh, okay. Like how many points? Or is that like how dense? So for density, I would say I don't usually break more than a few million. Like right now I'm at 2 million. This is perfect density to start this stuff. The more, just think of it this way, like the smaller the detail, the more dense it has to be to capture that detail. So for example, if you were working on a reptile of some sort and you really, like they had small scales on their bellies and stuff, and you really want that to pop, that's going to be a really dense model. You're then looking at like pretty high, between 14, 20, maybe even 30 million polys. But for overall skin texture that's not super fine detailed, but it's there, 2 million should be fine. You know, just to keep this rule of thumb in, it's not about the number, it's about whether or not the geometry is fighting you. So if you're at 2 million and you have good clean topology and you're not getting the details in, it just won't go, then it's not dense enough. So kind of keeping a more open, intuitive mind about if the material is fighting you, if the geometry is fighting you, then it's just not dense enough. So, and then you can also look at pixelation. If you are able to get the detail in, but it looks heavily pixelated, then it's probably not dense enough, or your topo just needs to be recleaned. So it just depends. But for this, 2 million should be fine, you know? And you can even use Sculptress Pro if you wanted to. If you didn't care about your geometry, then Sculptress Pro becomes your best friend. But I figure with subdivisions, you don't really need to do that. At least I haven't. That's kind of more preference than anything else. Okay, so let's just get some other lines in here too. So we're going to get some neck lines in here. We're going to kind of just get a couple. Like, we're not going to go for perfect here, I say, but, you know, then I'm going to be like, let's get this perfectly. So kind of reference how the skin itself would be. Say something like that. Right? So here's a trick for getting skin folds to look pretty good. Is after you get your lines kind of the way you want them, and have some variety, kind of like what I have here, some thin, thick, thin. Thin to thick to thin is always a great line variety. Pretty good back to painting miniatures, but I'm sadly under quarantine because Oh, you got in contact with the COVID person, so no symptoms. Gary, I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. Oh man. Sending good vibes, prayers to you, buddy. Yeah, luckily the test was negative and you have no symptoms. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Just stay well hydrated and make sure that you eat a good amount of food, so that way you can stay ahead of it. A big tip I was quarantined in the beginning of before lockdown in the States. I was quarantined for 2 weeks because we got in contact with somebody, but test was negative, everything was fine, and ended up, as far as I know, not contracting it. But I remember the nurse then had said, like, if you stay ahead of it, you could have at least, it might be overall just better. So like she just recommended, like, take Tylenol if you feel like you're just a little tired, but stay hydrated and eat plenty of food so that your body has a way to fight it if you do end up getting the symptoms. But yeah, man, sorry to hear that, dude. But I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm glad it's a negative test, so stay positive, keep painting. Okay. So here's a good trick to get some decent skin folds. Pull the standard brush back up, but then put dots back to your stroke and no alpha. Right after your lines, what you're going to do, and this works for seams too, is then with your standard brush, just kind of come next to the line that you cut, because that's for depth, right? And then actually build up some layers and puff up some of the areas around those lines. You're not puffing up everything, but where two lines really intersect, you can actually kind of fluff those up a little bit, because those parts are actually pushing against each other. And you could kind of come up something like this. And this doesn't have to be perfect. What this is doing is actually just replicating kind of how that skin would be pushing against itself. And then you can even, with the standard brush, even come in a little bit and cut in between. Puff up some other areas. Don't be afraid to go a little bit bigger. Kind of just fill that out. So you get some irregularities within the skin, which is what you would naturally get. So you get something like that. And then what you could do, another trick to, I've done this before, more with like clothing seams than skin, but the effect could still be the same depending on if something is really pressed against each other or not. But you could take the inflate brush and you can even pinch some of these areas together and then come back through with the /3 and actually exaggerate some more of that depth. So you're really just kind of building up these layers in that area. Something like that. And again, then zoom all the way out and see if this is working, if this is going what you want. So I start my model in Dynamesh, then ZRemesh, and project the Dynamesh details on the ZRemesh and start detailing, but I end up not getting a clean mesh. How do I fix this? Any help or methods? I might have to see what it is you're actually getting, but your pipeline sounds pretty well. A trick you could do if you're not getting the ZRemesh kind of what you want, a trick you could do is actually guide it. And I have a video on that to create decent edge loops with ZRemesher. Let me pull up a video for it. So if you go to my YouTube channel, and if you're already there, welcome. Why is my internet super slow today? ZBrush help. What's going on, everybody? My name is Ian. Whoop. And then, wow, my videos are like really slow today. Here we go, cleaner topology. So if you watch this video, which is cleaner topology with Polygroup it, it's a great method to break your model up into pieces to then have ZRemesher do what you want to do, which is what I did with my Cthulhu here. When I had him in T-pose, I broke up his arms, his body, his legs, his hands, his forearms, his head, his feet, everything into polygroups. And then when and this isn't the cleanest mesh, by the way. This is really ugly. I broke the crap out of this. But you could see what I was doing was I was controlling how the edge flow was going around the model. And this is a really complex model that was keeping as one piece. But with Polygroup it and the way you can group things and have that factored in, you can actually get the geometry to flow how you want. You can either use Polygroup it, or you can go as simple as let's save this real quick. If we just take a base mesh, let's see if I have a base mesh. I know I do. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I go, there we go. Base meshes. So let's take, okay. So let's take this really old base mesh that I was doing. It's gross, by the way. Don't look at this. Okay. Let's say I have this model, and this model is Dynameshed. So I just deleted higher, and then I hit Dynamesh. Okay, this is the Dynamesh model now. It's really gross. But I'm happy with it, right? And so what I want to do is ZRemesh this. So what I would recommend doing is actually duplicating this model. And then just take your select lasso, come through, select a piece, Control W, group that however you want. And you could do this as much as you want or as complex as you want. It's up to you. I'll take the hand, I'll make that a different group. So now I have these different polygroups. Same thing here with the feet. Right, I'll take this. I'll hit Control W. Maybe what I'll do next is actually come here. Select just above the knee. This one, Control W. So I'll get these looking fairly decent, fairly clean. Same with the head. Grab this, Control W to something that I like. You can even do it to the torso. Come on. There you go. Where you can come through, kind of grab the torso area. Get that looking a little bit different, right? So now you have this. Let me just show you the frame a little bit easier. So with polygroups, you can actually make this work to your advantage. Grab this, make something different, okay? So what we can do now is to get a cleaner mesh, what I recommend is, you see how if we zoom in, how jaggy these areas are? All you have to do is go to Deformation and Polish by Groups, which is right here. Go ahead and take that slider all the way to 100. And you'll notice now that that just kind of gives us a pretty decent cleanup. We can make this more of a cleanup. If you want to go to your spotlight, go to brush, go to smooth, click it, and then smooth by groups or smooth groups. Because then what you could do is you could just smooth the groups without ruining the mesh too much. And you can take as much time as you want with this, completely up to you. But then let's say we're happy with that. Now we want to ZRemesh it, right? So we have all of our details still on this model, but we're going to be taking this model down now with ZRemesher. So we're going to go to Geometry, ZRemesher. We're going to turn on Keep Groups. And then you can either take smooth groups down to 0 if you want, or leave it at 100. It's up to you. And then target polygroups, let's say, we'll try 5. So that's 5,000. And then we'll go ahead and ZRemesh. And we'll see what we get. And of course, too, if you have symmetry turned on, that's going to be the best approach. It's easier to do this part when it's in T-pose. If we take a look at the lines, what we can notice is because we had groups on, we can actually see that the edge loops were controlled and supported by the polygroups. So it gave me some really decent edge loops here on the arm as it connected to her body, her shoulder, the neck even. Gave me some pretty decent edge loops. So this would be a way to get cleaner edge loops. Is this animation ready? No, absolutely not. But this will get you pretty close to the sculpting part. And then, you know, once you have everything the way you like it, then you can manually retopologize if you need to. But you could just see that this is a quick way to get that support. And then from there, all you have to do is subdivide a few times and then project detail. As long as the model that you're trying to project, the details are on the top and the one you're projecting to is on the bottom. And then boom. Now we have our subdivided model with our Dynamesh details. And now we can continue doing those details as we see fit. So hopefully that helps you answer that. Yeah, little tricks like that will get you far quick. And even still, like, you know, sometimes when you're rebuilding stuff, you're going to have to fix it, especially during posing. Like, I spent a good chunk of time already just trying to fix this, so it really helps your genius, bro. Thanks. No problem, dude. You're so welcome. Yeah, it's just little things like that that'll make your life easy. Okay. There we go. I was gonna fix his eye bags. His eye bag is pretty gross. So I'm only gonna be streaming until about 9 o'clock, guys, just so you know. So Wednesdays will be shorter streams, and then Fridays will be slightly longer streams. There we go. What time zone? 9 o'clock? Oh, so it's 8 o'clock my time right now. So 9 o'clock, so in an hour. So I'll be streaming 2 hours roughly 2 hours on Wednesdays. And then on Fridays, I usually start streaming at like 3:30 p.m. my time. So Pacific Standard Time, or PDT. I forget what the D stands for on the other. So more so 6 yeah, more 6 your time, yeah. Nice. So but yeah, I'm only able to stream roughly about 2 days a week on my channel, and then once on Pixo, which works. But yeah, new work schedule is proving to be very much fun but busy. All right, we're gonna subdivide up a little bit more. I'm gonna clean some of this up here. Oh, I didn't finish the final skin texture. Sorry, that was the other thing. Let me finish this real quick. Okay, so then finishing the skin texture, once you get those folds and stuff up, the last thing to do is then... Wow, hold on. What is going on? That's better. Okay, so then the final thing to do is then to start adding pores on the skin. So going back to the skin question. So then we go to the standard brush, go to dots. For the stroke, go to spray, and then I like to use Alpha 7. And then what I'll do is, depending on how big or small the area we're working on will depend on your pore size, but pores are pretty small. So I'd actually take a low intensity and then hold Alt and actually start doing a light pass over that area. And this is completely random. I'm actually more just like working in circles at the moment. Something like that. And then I'll bump it up a little bit more and do some variation pores, because pores are inconsistent throughout the body. Some are big, some are small. They're not just the same. So you add some little bit of inconsistency on the pores. So you get something more like that. Let's actually get a better... that's not a better material. Okay, let's actually just turn up the occlusion a little bit. Try something like that. There we go. Morning! How you doing, Nix Nox? So you get something like that. And then what I do is I'll take the smooth peaks, and then I'll actually come through and lightly smooth some of the pores out, which will give you kind of a patchy, weird, kind of soft texture. If you're working with scars, this is great to leave it. Then you would leave this as scars. But you're smoothing down and keeping some of the variations within the pores. And then I like to go back over it with some positive stuff and vary between a couple positive and then a couple more negatives. And that can help you get a pretty decent skin texture. So this would be more like for a neck or an elbow of sorts. Morning, cat. How you doing? Hope you're having a great day so far. I am, yeah, absolutely. Having a great day working on this Cthulu, showing off a couple techniques I use on a day-to-day. Clearly in need of some water soon, but got my coffee for now. So yeah, doing great. All right. Yeah, exactly. I know. What is happening to me? What is happening? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's okay. I think it's just kind of part of me now. I just own the fact that my voice cracks. Hola, chillin' in model exploded view shop trying hell. Oh no! Oh my gosh, dude. That's always the fun part. I'm sure it's a big work project too that you like have to get done. All right. Well, thanks for the awesome questions so far, guys, because that's pretty freaking awesome. Pretty excited about that. The relief when your 37-hour print finishes. Yeah, right? Man, oh man, that's like the best feeling ever. The part is 1 of 3, and it alone is 142 parts. Holy shit. I laugh, sir, at the fact that that is just tedious, and it makes me uncomfortable to think that there's that many pieces. Hey, what's happening, IO Matthew? How you doing, buddy? Man, oh man, that's just insane. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I've been 3D printing a very long time now. So I feel like for me, the danger zone, except for a power outage and stuff, I feel like the danger zone for a print is in the first hour or two. And then once my machine gets past that, I don't know. I don't fret anymore. I just go to sleep. And then if I wake up to spaghetti, I'm just like, whatever, dude. Fine, how about you? I'm doing really good, Matthew. Doing really good. Continuing the Cthulhu that I was working on for like a month now. Kind of cleaning it up the rest of the way before I start work. So yeah, doing good. A lot of just little things to finish up. But overall, great, man. I pushed the max possible size of my printer to the limits there. Ooh, what's the biggest size? When you've been doing it long enough, you either aren't bothered by a failed print, as long as your printer isn't damaged, of course, or you cough it up, cough the extra money. Yeah, exactly. It's when a support tower for a weird overhang breaks at the 15 hour that makes your heart sink. Mostly an FTM, absolutely. What's really interesting though, and next time I know you've had this, is when a support breaks and then the model is still affected, but for some reason, like, the support breaks and then randomly the support just like fixes itself. And it's like all like cockeyed, but you have like if this was your support beam and then all of a sudden like right next to it it's like kind of crooked, but it's another piece of support that like fixes. It's like, what happened here? Everything about what you see just defies gravity. The size of your Ender 5 is 210 by 210. Nice, okay. Size of the build plate, you mean? Is the Ender 5 300 tall? Wait, you working on this for the past month? Yeah, on and off. I've been working on this on and off. Not a consistent month. I started it with a creature study with Kamara on a dual stream. Then I got picked up for a job, so I put it on hold. Then I continued it on my Pixelogic stream. And I've only been sculpting it on my Pixelogic stream. So it's been a month since I've started it, but it's not been a month of work. Yeah, 300 height, nice. That's a great size. All my resin machines have a UPS. FDM is so cheap it doesn't bother me anymore. Yep, even if you get a fail at like 80 hours, you measure, split up your model, print the rest, and glue it together. Yep, exactly. It's those little fixes, right? That just, you learn to do this. I actually did that with my Bakugo Gauntlets. Did I ever show you guys that? So I did Bakugo Gauntlets a couple years ago for DesignerCon and also for Halloween. And I printed 50 hours each side. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. 50 hours each side, and then the final piece broke, but it broke weird. So I actually took real clay and sculpted it back and then painted it. Nobody knew the difference until I pointed it out. Which is pretty crazy. Even though it's PLA, my hand struggles with wasting a new filament. Dude, yeah. It's a feeling I think that over time you just kind of like Martin said, you either like, it's either something that doesn't bother you so much anymore, or yeah, you just kind of cough up the extra money. It's when resin fails that I still get a little bit of a heart sink, but I'm an over supporter when it comes to resin printing, so I don't get as many failures as I used to when I was first learning. But I know, like, that's the decision I've made. I'd rather spend more money, just slightly more money, in extra support than risk failing apart. It's like car insurance. That's how I treat my my resin supports. All right. I'm going to take the /3 brush and start defining some of these weird little muscle areas in his back. So luckily, like, in creature anatomy, You can get away with cheating the anatomy a little bit, not so much in humans. But as long as your shapes and forms look pretty good, you shouldn't usually have too much of a problem. But we still don't want it to be 100% a lie, so kind of correct some of it so at least it looks consistently or consistent through each. That's the trick, at least. Cool. Yeah, there we go. And what we're going to do here is, I don't think I have UVs on this. I don't. So we're going to actually kind of cut this up a little bit using polygroups. So we'll get some decent UVs happening. It won't be perfect, but it will be something. I don't want that to seem like that. Maybe I do. No, we'll leave that such like that. Let's actually get that chopped off there. So something like this. And then we'll go ahead and hit auto groups. Kind of hide that right there. So I'm just selecting the random ones. Like such. Making them just all a little bit different. There we go. Is this for a 3D print? Yes, this will be 3D printed. Not quite sure. Most likely it will be resin printed. But I'll try to make sure it's not impossible for FDM. Well, nothing's ever impossible for FDM. It'd just be like support central, and nobody likes that. So we'll try to make it a little nice. Let's grab that one. But I'm just breaking this up because for the render, I want to take it into Marmoset and I want to play with some textures. And even though Marmoset, you don't need UVs to render it, you should have UVs to at least try your best to get. So if you want to play with some of the textures, you'll want some UVs. So I'll go to Z plugin, UV master, polygroups are on, and then we'll just unwrap. We're not going for perfection, we're just going for usable. And we'll go with that route right there. Oh, you're doing statues, yeah. Yeah, I typically do statue work, 3D print prototype for toys, and some work for animation. Although I don't animate, I just make models that could be animated. Been enjoying watching a lot of your stuff lately, dude. I'm honestly trying to get over the fact that I'm so out of practice with 3D art. Been out of the game industry for about 10 years, picking up Zbrush back up in the last 6 months or so to do minis, collectibles, stuff like that, trying to get over the anxiety to start streaming and selling stuff. Dude, yeah, I totally feel you, man. A, thank you so much for the kind words. That means a lot. B, if anything, you know, I'm glad you're getting something out of it. That's amazing that you were in the game industry for about 10 years. So, like, yeah, you're just feeling rusty, I'm sure, but keep at it, dude, and I would love to see a lot of your work. Have you posted in my Discord or anything? If you ever want to like just hang out in a pretty chill Discord and show stuff, let me know. Now I learned that if you print a square as big as 210 by 205, the edges will warp no matter what. Ooh, interesting. You can use vertex colors in Marmoset. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Yeah. I try to But if you want to use the textures, UVs will help. You do the UVs before completing the finished model. Before finished modeling it, next Nox. I have not. Will join though. Yeah, absolutely. Currently, our Discord mainly consists of Yoshi's. yeah. My Discord is more of like a place where people can come and hang out. It's not so much a super controlled Discord. I don't have a lot of rules. It's just like a nice little community place for people to come hang out. And if you want to tag me or, to get my opinion, I'd love to help out any way I can. But there's also a lot of talented artists in my Discord that are from all walks of the industry as well. Like Nox is one of my good friends, and he's a prop maker and designer, so he does a lot of stuff for 3D print, practical builds, as well as like electrical. So it's like, there's so many people within the Discord that have a lot of different experience. So it's not a Discord that you're just like, you don't have to feel confined by rules. As long as everybody's chill, welcome in. I'm also doing 3D for about a year now and crossed this mark yesterday. Congrats! That's awesome. Do you use Blender? Just asking. I don't use Blender traditionally. No, not really. From time to time. I used to use it for renders only. I can use Blender for box modeling. I played around with sculpting a little bit. But since I mainly just sculpt statues, Zbrush is my main tool. But I have used Blender. I can get around it. I just don't need to use it, but I highly recommend it for those who do. I enjoy too when when I sculpted in Zbrush. Nice. What's the min max height you ever printed something? Oh my gosh. I've capped out my printer several times. I have an Ender 3 Pro. I've capped it out almost a lot. But the biggest overall are my Bakugo Gauntlets. I think I have them. Hold on one second. I'm going to go grab them real quick so you can see. Like, it is the biggest thing I've ever printed. 1 second. Okay. It's looking great, Sculpt. Hey, happy critter, how you doing? Okay. I got it. So this is one of two, obviously, because it's a pair. Yeah. So this is the biggest thing I've ever printed. Let's see. In total, it's about 11 inches tall. But look at this. Fully functional. It's part of a cosplay. So, yeah. Yep. So this is the biggest thing, and it's hard to tell, but this piece right here, this is an actual bolt and nut that a bolt and bolt and nut that I 3D printed and designed. So this part actually comes undone. I painted it, so it may not without some force, but it's actually a bolt that goes through. This was 2 pieces, so 1, 2, then this piece right here is 3 that comes in, then 4, 5 for the bolt and nut that I made, and then this is 2 pieces right down the middle, right down the seam line here. You could tell where I sculpted the fix where it broke, but came right down the middle, and each piece took about 35 hours to print top to bottom. Actually, it doesn't weigh a whole lot. I would say maybe about 5 pounds at most. That might be over exaggerating it, but I do have some like foam on the inside. That's so it's pressure fit. So when I put my hand in there, it's actually designed to squeeze my wrist comfortably with some foam, but I was still able to get my hand in and out. So yeah. Well, not fully functional. Would require a quirk on my end for sure. Yeah, so I did that cosplay. It was a last minute throw together, but I did that for Decon because I was gonna walk around as Bakugo, and then I ended up finishing it for Halloween, which is pretty cool. Blender is easier, but Zbrush is super great. It's very amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Blender is a great way to get started, and it is for sure a lot. It is easier and it's cheaper since it's free. But I would say it's only easier on the technicality side, but it definitely, in my opinion, Blender gets limited pretty fast when it comes to sculpting. Because Blender can't handle the high geo that ZBrush can. That's really what I mean. Like, I've tried, I think the most polys or vertices I've ever brought into Blender was about 40 million, and I struggled. Where I've dealt with models up to 70, 80 million vertices. In ZBrush, it just handles it differently. But Blender has gotten so good, guys. I want to cosplay as a Spartan someday. Since I'm 6'4" and I also love Halo. Hell yeah, dude. I'm 6'4" as well. So we're 6'3", 6'4". Yeah. Oh, maybe I shrank a little bit. But I'm right there. Shower thought there are high explosives, so they're low explosives too. Yeah, really? Interesting. I guess, Gary, you would say like a little firecracker would be a low explosive. You just need a loincloth and muscles. Every Blender beginner, donut is the first thing I made. Absolutely. Actually, what's funny is a buddy of mine recently came up and he's like, I wanna get into some 3D modeling. What do you recommend? I told him Blender's the way to start. And then right after we got talking, he was like, all right, do you have any like beginner tutorials, downloaded Blender? I sent him the donut, the Blender donut tutorial series. I was like, here you go. This is where you start. And he immediately was like, that's awesome. I'm going to make a donut. So hopefully he makes a donut. Okay. Just getting that clavicle bone brought right where it's supposed to be. And then there's like a little flat spot that happens. So you get the clavicle, and then there's a flat spot right here, which is where that deltoid separation happens. Pretty nice. Been wanting to do an ODST since the Weta trailer. Oh, dude, yeah. The donut Reddit is gold. Such cool things they do there. Absolutely. Did you see the creator of the donut tutorials making an NFT out of a bunch of donuts of people? No, that's awesome. Wait, so Andrew Price is making NFTs now? That's awesome. First 3D package was 3ds Max, like 3 or 4, if I remember right. Nice. Andrew was asking for people to submit their donuts for a collage. I couldn't find mine. Damn, I should have. I think I saw that post, but I didn't say anything. Can you show me your character mouth? My character's mouth? He don't have one. This guy, he does not have a mouth. Wasn't gonna give him one. Started with a giant Abbott monster tutorial. Ooh! Oh, the Grant Abbott monster tutorial. Nice. I don't know why I said giant. It was scuffed, but I finished it. Dude, that's all really what it is. Yeah, just finish it. Oh, nice. What mouth only sees spaghetti? Yeah, exactly. If you don't need it, don't sculpt it. He doesn't need to eat. Not this guy. I mean, you know, we'll pretend he has a mouth. It would be somewhere in the vicinity of right there. There you go. There's his mouth. What is my... Hold on, let's see. What is my texturing software? Like, what's my preference? Ooh. Okay, well, first, if I'm doing for a statue, it's going to be Zbrush, because I'm going to be sculpting a high res, so all the texturing will have to be actual geometry so that I could export it out for printing. But honestly, I'm really starting to love Marmoset Toolbag 4 over Substance. Like, Substance is actually becoming... Like, I still like it. I still use it. I still have my version of Substance, which is the Steam version. But with Adobe's current decisions, I've been looking for, you know, better alternatives. And Toolbag 4 has a great texture program within it, so I'm starting to utilize it more. But for work, what I'm doing right now, I'm still going to be going into Substance for work to do any type of texturing if it's for like animation. So yeah, I would say used to be Substance, but it's definitely moving to Marmoset Toolbag 4. Just couldn't stop. When I first touched sculpting, I couldn't stop. Dude, Angry Teapot, I'm the same way. When I first got introduced to sculpting, I just couldn't put it down. I'm actually like really intrigued about traditional sculpting. I've played with like polymer clay and done some little stuff, but I mean like doing character sculpting, I would love to pick up some real clay and really give it a go. I think that'd be cool. Because I would see, like, I've been working on my asymmetry sculpting, or asymmetrical sculpting, however you want to say that. So I do a lot of it in ZBrush, so it wouldn't be that big of a stretch to have to do it. I just obviously couldn't start from a T-pose. You have to sculpt in pose for most of that. Yeah, Adobe sucks, but still, I freaking love Substance. Yeah, Substance is great. There's a guy on YouTube. Oh, very good sculpting. Thanks so much, Cena. Hold on, making sure I don't miss anything. I wanted to do the donut tutorial on my Surface 7, but then the new donut blender tutorial guru says people without a scroll wheel. Oh yeah. There's a guy on YouTube. He is called Living with oh my god, Living with Chef or something. So when he made a Spartan armor, he printed it and then he reworked it for like 4 times. No idea what he actually did, but it turned out good. That's awesome. Did I try out Cycles X? It's amazing. I have not tried out Cycles X. I might have to try that out. You're not a fan of Adobe, I see. I actually love Adobe. Don't get me wrong. I love Adobe. Here's what I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of being nickeled and dimed to death. Like, I love Photoshop. I swear by it. I still use it to this day. Illustrator, same thing. Like, Adobe has great products, okay? However, they've taken away the proprietary licenses and have only gone cloud-based. And I did the math. Like, Photoshop itself used to cost $3,000 for one suite, right? Now you pay, if you just pay for Photoshop and Lightroom combo, so their photography package, you'll be paying $120 a year. that's great, right? But everything is like that. If I want to get the full suite, I think it's like 50, 60 bucks for the full suite. So, but that doesn't include things like Substance. That's another payment. So I could end up paying hundreds of dollars a month to utilize a few programs instead of just investing into one. I think also too, Zbrush just spoiled me. I think the ability to pay $900 for a program and then I never pay again and I get the newest version, I think that spoiled me a lot. But then I get there's cost there. People need to have, if you have good support, etc., etc. But I don't know. I think there should still be a proprietary license option that makes me like Marmoset. Marmoset Toolbag 3, I had that, had to upgrade. They gave me a discount. They discounted that upgrade. So I feel like there should still be their option, and Adobe just doesn't give you that option. Yeah. Oh, you said ignore the last message. But Substance Painter, they stopped, as far as I'm aware of, they stopped the Steam update and supports. Which is why when I bought Substance, I went with Steam because I couldn't fathom spending $20 a month when I could just buy the program for 150 bucks, which actually I got on sale for 120. So, I mean, like, I feel like these programs still need a proprietary option with, I'll pay an upgrade fee if I want to upgrade it if you produce a better version, but, I just, like I said, everything's a cloud service now, so I feel like I'm spending like $300-400 in cloud services, and it's not like I'm going to use Substance every day. Like, I'll use Substance when I need to. Yeah, so I don't know. Ignore the messy that I made as Spartan armor once. Yeah. So that's all. That's my opinion on it. Oh yeah. This is such a cool one. Yep. Anyway, yeah, that's my Adobe rant. Okay, I'm gonna grab this nail. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and Control-Shift-D, duplicate this, grab this one, delete hidden. Let's make his toenails. So here, let's kind of warp this a little bit, extend this up. Yeah. Yeah, you fall under the pressure to use the program since I'm paying every month for this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like some people doesn't use the program suite every day. Exactly, yeah. And again, this is coming from somebody who still uses Photoshop. I still use it. I still like and appreciate it. I think it's the best version. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know. I feel like there could be some improvements. But but hey, let's look at the flip side. If Adobe actually like steps up and makes Substance Painter, 100 times better, then let's go for it. But yeah, I just want the option to pay full price. Yeah, Adobe needs more flexibility. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna Control-Shift-D. There we go. Still waiting for Substance Painter VR. They showed it off at Zbrush Summit a few years ago. Oh my gosh. I think those plans kind of went away when Adobe bought them. or rather put on hold. I feel like I haven't played with Substance. I mean, I'm sorry, I haven't played with VR sculpting at all, but I've seen some people play with it, and I've seen that ultimately there's enough love for it, but I feel like it definitely is going to be a while before we get something that's really usable. But the technology is definitely there. I just want other VR headset options. Probably. Yeah. Oh, nice. Here, I'm gonna mute it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, so you have all of Oh, that's cool. So you have all the Substance options, but then you get to come in here and actually look at it real time. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, 2018. Holy heck. But wasn't this before Facebook bought them? No worries. I just want a cheap non-Facebook portable headset. Yeah, no, you and me both, dude. I think Oculus is a great machine. I don't like that they're owned by Facebook. Now, if somebody gifted me a VR headset, an Oculus headset, I'm gonna use it. Like, let's just be honest. I'll just create a Facebook account specifically for it. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Facebook owning it. I'm not a big Facebook fan. So, you know, there's that too. What the heck? Ooh, what happened here? Holy moly, I broke it. Okay. Let's go ahead and just delete hit and let's rebuild his fingies. Let me see here. Oh, my chat's being weird. Let's see. I plan to learn Zbrush well enough. Oh, before Adobe, but not before Facebook Oculus. Okay, that makes sense. I plan to use Zbrush well enough that I can print a Sprout armor I place together. That'd be awesome. Imagine modeling creatures and characters for production in Oculus Quest. Dude, that would be sick. I mean, I'm not knocking Oculus for that. I think the technology of Oculus is great. That would be so sick. Yeah, fun fact, Facebook can ban you from using their VR headset if your Facebook account gets banned. That's why it's forbidden to sell in the EU since it goes against consumer rights. Yeah, see, yeah, that's what I mean by, yeah, I don't really care for Facebook. Well, it's also interesting too because I'm one of those guys that like I will watch the I watched every time Facebook had a meeting with Congress, and I was always like, I would just sit there and shake my head because I understand everything that's coming out of Zuckerberg's mouth, but my representatives don't. And I'm like, oh shit, this is bad. like how am I understanding this, but they are not understanding this. This makes it and I mean, look, I'm you know, just not a fan of Facebook. I don't like it. It's my rant for the day. I guess that was my second rant. I went on an Adobe rant, now Facebook. Okay, I'm gonna widen his thumb a little bit. Go. Singing Sculpt this style, do you know the Elder from Path of Exile might be usable as reference? Oh no, nope, no idea, Gary. Send me stuff. Congress is a bunch of 80s movie jocks. I don't understand all this computer nerd stuff. Yeah, it really is. It's sad. Like the officials are usually pretty ignorant when it comes to understanding technology. Constantly shaking my head. Yep. And yet they're the ones who are in charge of it all. Which is just, oh, what can you do, man? What can you do? Try to vote in decent people. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's lower this a bit. So I'm going to be moving his thumb forward a bit more. Go. Kind of push that in a little bit. Yep, it's working okay. No exile. Did you share a link, Gary? I don't see the link if you shared it. Just curious. I'll have to look it up too. Check it out. Bloop. There we go. Okay, let's take this real quick. Ooh, my song is on. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I'll turn it up a little bit. Cannot find a good concept art. But let me know if you do. Or I'll have to look up Path of Exile as well. It's my jam. Okay. Let's kind of move this here. Still sane, Exile? Yes, nice. Grinding Gear Games art department is A-OK Deluxe. Okay. Yeah, I'll look some of that stuff up, dude. If you pop it in the Discord, let me just tag me in it. Yeah, my Cthulhu references were very vast. Very, like I originally, I don't know if I showed you. I originally, had a good chunk of references, and then I had the one I was basing this off of the most. And then after that, I changed it completely. Let's see here, the Cthulhu. Oh. Let's load. Let's see, where are we at? Pull up real quick. There it is. So this is my main reference source. So I went off of this one first, which was my main inspiration. And then I started doing a lot of Cthulhu research. And then some anatomy references. And then, of course, some skinfold references on bigger, heavier set individuals. And then some more, like, statue-esque versions of it. And kind of just overall like this. So this is what my board looks like. Even some tree root references. Some feet references. So yeah. What do you not have, Natecta? That's so awesome. Alright guys, so we got about like 10 more minutes, just so you guys know. Because I gotta get to work. Luckily getting to work is pretty cool, so let's finish. Let me finish the main idea with the fingies, the fingernails. There we go. Okay, I'm actually gonna hide the base real quick so I can get underneath and actually see what's happening here. Actually, let's squeeze that in a little bit. Push that in and rotate. It's one of your favorites. It's so funny they added it after the. I'm gonna have to see this now. You guys are. Now I'm intrigued. Rotate that in a little bit. Rotate this over, rotate this down. There we go. There. Just got more of them put in there. Let's turn that back on. And then I just want to see something real quick, so I'm actually going to save this. Say notes. I'm going to save this, and then what I want to do is actually... So you guys know I'm a big component of XMD brushes, and they have some really cool stuff. So if you ever want to conceptualize or utilize some of their stuff, I highly recommend it. But they have some pretty cool, like, rock textures and stuff that I like to utilize. This is Dynameshed, so I'm actually just gonna subdivide it. I'm not even gonna. There's no need to go anything not any major shapes. I'm just gonna subdivide real quick, and I'll bring it up, and then I'm gonna utilize some of the textures. The middle jungle. I like starts at the Ice Crash Berserker. But the league dropped it because I wanted to stop making character. Oh, nice. Yeah, streamers get the cute treatment, kind of like that's all. Alright, so we're just going to subdivide this up to like 1,000,000. And then honestly, I'm just going to be applying a good amount of this texture here. I have a couple of these brushes. So you can see, like, this is what I was talking about with, like, detailing. You see how this is all jaggy and that it's really pixelated? That means that there's not enough information to capture all that detail. So if you're starting to, like, add textures and it's really, really pixelated, you're going to have to go up in subdivision at that point to try to get cleaner, more refined textures. So just a little tip. Yeah, actually what I recommend too, if you like something in a certain spot but you don't like where it forms, really utilize masking. So then you can do stuff like that where you layer it up a little bit. Kind of stack that in like such. Maybe switch to this first one. And even cut in a little bit if we wanted to. Rocks have all sorts of different shapes and sizes, so. Richest I've been in Path of Exile is like 70 experience and net worth, or EX. Nice. I also tried an Aura Stacker build when I pulled the House of Mirrors out from Stack Tech. Oh, we're gonna have to check this out. You guys are making me very intrigued. Path of Exile. Gary, share stuff. Share me links. I need to know. There we go. So when in doubt, sometimes, yeah, just use a different brush. There we go. Nice base on there. Then we can refine some of this detail. It's always cool. And we'll have to obviously push some of this down as well. Areas that don't make sense. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm working. No worries. Well, I'm gonna be working too, guys. So that's gonna call it for the day. For today, we'll continue this on Friday. I'm gonna have a little bit more time. So let's go ahead and save this out. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Let me see if there's somebody I can raid on the Twitch side. Actually, I think Rush is streaming. Yeah, Rush is streaming currently. It's an amazing stream. See everybody next time. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Everybody take it easy. And I'm going to raid Rush. I'm going to do what he does. I'm going to raid him, and then I'm going to pop out like real quickly. Be like, hey, buddy, you got to go. Yeah. All right, let me come in here real quick. Raid Rushzilla. All right, and if you're on YouTube, thank you guys so much for hanging with me on YouTube. I can't speak clearly, but that is okay. All right, guys, but that's it. Thank you so much, and I'll chat at you later. See you in the Discord. See you on Friday. Bye, 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 bye.